Hi everyone, how you doing? I hope you can hear me okay. It is the Tuesday, the 20th of February 2024. It's 12:35 a.m. I can't sleep. I've changed over shifts, so I'm in work. I'm in work on days tomorrow. So I'm still on night shift mode. I've got to go in to work on days, but I'll do a video and then I'll get myself off to bed. So the reason I've done this video is I just want to kind of discuss this thing. That's like, why do we do it? Because it's one of the big questions that as gamblers we all have. We rack our brains trying to figure out a cause, trying to figure out a reason for us continuing to gamble in the destructive manner that many of us do, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to us. Um, we're intelligent people. We know that if something is damaging to us, not to do it. We know that if something is painful, to avoid it. We learn this. We learn these experiences throughout life, and we're able to be cognizant of that information um, throughout our life, and we learn not to do certain things, like putting our hand on a hot stove when the gas is on, or touching a fire or something like that. We know not to do that, because we know that it's gonna bring us pain. It's going to bring us discomfort, and so on. But when it comes to gambling, we look at it in a completely different light. Um, if we have developed a gambling addiction, we know for ourselves that whenever we place our first bet, that inevitably the outcome is going to be disaster. So, like I say, we're intelligent people. It doesn't take very long for a gambling addict to understand that if I don't put that first bet on, I won't put the second one on, and I won't continue to put bets on, and I won't end off rinsing my bank account out, using up all my rent money, and things like that. So we're intelligent. We understand that. We know after we've been on a spree, when we've lost all of our money, if I only didn't put that first one on, it wouldn't have happened. So we understand that the first bet that we place is the problem, but the difficulty and the challenge that we're faced with is our powerlessness and inability to stop ourselves from putting that first bet on. So a lot of people think of, when they think of the 12 steps and they think of powerlessness, we think about we're powerless after the event. So what happens is that with gambling, it's like we're powerless after the event, absolutely, because that's why we end off gambling, continuing to gamble. That's why we end off putting another bet on, and another bet on, and another bet on, because we've set the chain in motion. But if we don't set the chain in motion, then there isn't a problem. But the issue is we're powerless not only after, we're also powerless before we put the first bet on. And that's why we can't stop ourselves putting that first bet on from time to time. So if we could prevent ourselves and stop ourselves from putting on that first bet, then there wouldn't be a problem. But if we've crossed over into the realms of addiction, then we will find it virtually impossible to be able to stop ourselves putting that first bet on. Which is why when we within the 12-step recovery program, we say we admitted we were powerless over gambling and that our lives had become unmanageable. So what is it we're powerless over? We're powerless over that first bet. We're powerless to stop ourselves putting that first bet on. We're incapable, if you like, of remaining gambling free. We're powerless and incapable of remaining gambling free under our own volition. And all we have to do is look at our experiences and look at the lengths that we have gone to try and stop ourselves. So, I mean, we go to all sorts of lengths in order to try and stop ourselves from putting on the first bet, but somehow all of those methods eventually let us down, and we end up putting the first bet on without even a care in the world. Without a care in the world, it's as safe. Putting that first bet on us for us is as safe as boiling the kettle and having a cup of tea. It's like we hit a mental. It's like a mental blank spot emerges within our mind where we're unable to remember the suffering and humiliation of the last spree. We're unable to remember and with enough force to say to ourselves, "I shouldn't be doing this." You know, it's almost as if we are walking in to the bookies or going online to an online casino completely blind, like a lamb to the slaughter. I mean, if you imagine a slaughterhouse and you imagine an animal going into the slaughterhouse, they don't know what's coming. They're going in as if everything's fine. There might be worries and things like that, but it's like they just walk in there, and that's exactly what we are like. We're like lambs being led to the slaughter when it comes to our addiction and gambling. We go into these venues, we go into the casinos without a care in the world. We deposit money online without a care in the world, without a worry in the world. Everything's going to be fine. This time will be different. I don't know what it'll be different from, but you have a feeling in there that possibly this isn't a good idea. But it's like, don't worry about it. We'll be fine. Even though it never, ever has been fine. And this is the whole thing with that first step. We find that we are incapable of remaining gambling free under our own power, and this is when we come open to the idea that we become open to the possibility that something other than us may be able to help. And when you think of our best efforts, where are our best efforts to overcome gambling? Not for a day, not for a week, but permanently. Where's our best efforts led us? If your best efforts have led you to the point where you're sat there with your head in your hands, why not be open to the possibility that something other than you may be able to help you recover from this, because we think that only we have the solution. I've got to think my way out of this. But how can you rely upon the mind? How can, in doing that, you're relying upon the very thing that's the problem, which is your mind. How can you rely upon the problem, expect what the problem is, and expect a solution to arise from the problem? The mind, the lack of power within the mind is the issue. Lack of power within the mind is the problem. Therefore, we can't rely upon our thinking in order to get us out of this. And this is why I talk a lot about this first step in particular, because this is the foundation that enables us to start being open to the possibility of a solution. And the solution within the 12-step program, anyway, is seeking the protection and refuge of a higher power, allowing the higher power to take over control of the gambling issue, to allowing a higher power to basically take you forward in your recovery, and you won't have anything to worry about as long as you remain connected to that higher power. And that's the purpose of the 12 steps, to allow you to have an experience which will enable you to realize that you don't have to worry about gambling anymore. Anyway, I'm aware my dog Monty is being a bit noisy, so I'm going to leave it here. Take care, and hopefully I'll speak to you soon. Bye.